food web is an illustration that shows the complex interactions between predators and prey. Organisms within the food web are capable of feeding at different levels, not just the one beneath it, therefore creating a complex food web. A food web is composed of different trophic levels. The biomass that transfers up each trophic level is inefficient, but provides organisms with sufficient energy to grow and reproduce. The trophic levels found within a food web are primary producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Organisms that use sunlight to convert water and carbon dioxide into food and energy for themselves. They make up the base of the food web and act as a food source for higher trophic levels. For examples, some examples of primary producers are kelp, phytoplankton, barnacles, and anemones. All of these organisms are capable of making biomass from inorganic compounds. Primary consumers are organisms that consume primary producers for their source of energy. They are above the primary producers on the food web. Some examples of primary consumers are zooplankton, sea urchin, and krill. Secondary consumers are organisms that eat primary consumers. Typically, this trophic level consists of carnivores, which are animals that eat meat, or omnivores, which are animals that eat plant and meat. Some examples of secondary consumers are sea otters and baleen whales. Tertiary consumers are organisms that typically feed on secondary consumers. These organisms are not as plentiful as the primary producers, since these organisms can only retain a minimal amount of energy from the food they eat. One example of a tertiary consumer is a killer whale.
A top-down control is typically a change in the food web due to a change in predation. In the past, killer whales were hunted for their fat, skin, and internal organs. Additionally, killer whales are thought to be intelligent animals and have therefore been captured for display in aquariums. This caused a decrease in killer whale population. With fewer killer whales around to hunt for food, the sea otter population was able to rise. With the sea otter population rising and eating more sea urchins, the sea urchin population began to decrease. Finally, due to a decrease in sea urchin population, the kelp population rose because there were fewer sea urchins grazing on the holdfast of the kelp. A bottom-up control is a change in the primary production of a food web and is caused by natural events and human activity. Kelp is the main source of primary production and is therefore the foundation of the food web. Natural disasters such as storms can rip kelp from their hard substrate that they are attached to, which leads to a food shortage for primary consumers. This causes primary consumers to decrease since they have no food to sustain themselves. This results in a trophic cascade, where secondary and tertiary consumers also decrease. If the kelp population does not recover, then the whole food web can die off.